Hey folks, so it's compost season now. Today is March 11th, and my 4-bay system, the way it works is fresh material loads bay 1, ideally within the first week of the month. At the end of the month, flips to bay 2, so on and so forth, so that everything stays in a bin for no longer than a month, and we've always got new material coming through. Every bin was full coming into the end of winter. We're still technically in winter, but I started moving the 4th bay out to the garden. I flipped all 3 bays over, so bay 1 was empty. I started loading that up, but to load that up, I've got my staging area. I've showed that in a previous video. I think it's 12 by 12 or 10 by 10. A lot of my material that I captured during the fall, leaves and garden scraps, went into there unshredded, unbroken down, just to kind of stand until I had room in the bins to throw it through. Here's the problem with that. It's not really a problem. None of that material is shredded and broken down, so it's very chunky. And I have put that through the system before, and the final product, after 4 months, is still physically pretty much intact, but with a much more rich color. Now that works really great as a mulch, but it's not going to feed the soil as quickly, primarily because we had some wind today, so hopefully this picks me up. Primarily because there's so much volume, it can do a pretty good job of suppressing weeds, but the material's not broken down enough to feed the soil right away. In a situation like mine, that's okay because my soil is pretty rich and it doesn't need that heavy hit of compost nutrition right away. But in beds that haven't been fed for a while with more compost, I'd rather put something more finished on top. Let me show you why I'm bringing this up today and what system I'm now using to shred that material. This machine is a Sears Craftsman Shredder 5 horsepower. It chips and shreds. I do not like it for the chipper. I don't find that it actually handles fresh material very well, regardless of the diameter, unless it's really like pencil thin. So I don't really use the chipping function that often, but I use the heck out of the shredder. I didn't use it much last year because I couldn't figure out a way to shred a lot of material and capture it, because the output chute, and I'll pull this back in a minute. One, it first had a hood on it that shot it downwards. Well, that doesn't really help to capture material. When I took the hood off and you fire the material out, basically it just goes wherever it wants to go. So what I did was I created a capture system. And it took me a couple of iterations to get this right, but I love the way it's working right now. Broadly speaking, I think it's a 10 by 12 tarp, 10 feet by 12 feet. On the back side of the barn's overhang, I attached what I'm calling a backstop. And then I drilled 2 holes, 5 different spots, because I wanted to attach a grommet to the wood in sort of a rainbow fashion from the bottom to the top to the bottom. Because my goal with this, when this thing's firing, it creates a massive amount of wind firing outwards, and I wanted to basically elevate this so that the material would fly back to forward. Now, in the past, 2 years ago, I started using this system, but I didn't actually have, I had the back flat. I didn't have the rainbow arch to create a better kind of archway, and it didn't work nearly as well. This, I find, works much better. Now, to make this kind of a little bit more, not necessarily airtight, because you do need airflow, but to keep it from kind of material from blowing in and firing all over the place, I've got old kind of semi-rotted 4x4s held in place by pretty good sized rocks on this side, a very rotted 4x4 over there that doesn't seem to need additional weight, and an old fence post on that side. I've got a busted up cinder block over here, and the way this attaches on the drum, where we have the flail blade and the cutting blade all in one, I took out one of these old stock bolts and I put the same size but much longer, and I attach that grommet to that, which holds it in place. And underneath there, and I'll show it to you when we're done with the shredding, because I'm going to run all this material through as an example. There's a barrel. I found that barrel on the property. It's a bottomless round, I guess a burn barrel. It's not in really great shape, but I use that to start the wind tunnel, but also to keep the tarp from falling in onto the chute outwards, because if it sinks down in there, when the material goes through, it can blow holes through the tarp. That happened to me the first time I used the system about 3 years ago. I was chipping sticks through there and immediately started busting holes through the tarp. So that was not good, but I did solve it with the barrel, and I like this system a lot. I just started using it a couple days ago. Yeah, let's talk for a couple more seconds and then we'll fire it up and you can watch it in action. So let's talk inefficiencies right now. This is a very inefficient process because all my material is up at the compost. This is, 100 steps away. So I am physically moving the compost material there to here and then back into the system. I'm okay with it. It gives me a pretty good workout. Next year what I'll do is every piece of material that I have that I'm collecting in the fall that would technically go to the staging bin, because what should happen is the staging bin would be full of shredded material and I can push that through to bay 1 and any other material that I want straight from that bin. And when I'm cutting grass, I can mix the staging bin with the cut grass into bin 1 to create more of a hotter compost because I'll have that nitrogen material. That being said, next year what I'll do is I'll basically stage all my material out here first, run it through the shredder, put it in the staging bin, or maybe even leave it in the staging bin over here. I haven't decided yet, but not do the whole back and forth that I'm doing right now. So I know there's an inefficiency here, and it's only because I came up with this process after that staging bin was already full. Enough of me wagging my mouth. Let's go ahead and fire this up, and hopefully it creates that beautiful wind tunnel that I've been able to create 3 times now. And once I'm done shredding, we'll pull the whole thing back and you can see the final material. So before I do that, let me show you the material we're running through this. We've got a lot of willow oak leaf. We've got some other stuff. What you're seeing right here is a lot of willow oak leaf. And there's some wet patches, there's some dry patches. It should all go through the machine just fine. And once we're done shredding, we'll pull the tarp back and you'll see the, 1, you'll see the barrel, but 2, you'll see what the product looks like. Now I already have 1 round of material like this through the machine. I did this yesterday and it's already under the tarp. So we're gonna add a second one and you'll see what that final material is gonna look like, and that's what's gonna go into bay 1. Let's get started. Safety glasses, ear protection. You already see the material? So yeah, this is what it looks like now. Again, still a lot of intact leaves, but we got a lot of material much more broken down than it was. And when this sits in the bin for a while, it's gonna it's gonna break down a lot faster. And when it comes time to flip it, it's gonna flip a lot easier. Right now, the material that's sitting in bay 3 and 4 right now, very matted. A lot of sugar maple leaf, and it's pretty intact still. And again, that's fine for a mulch on my beds, especially the beds that have a nice mature soil. But those that need a little bit more nourishment for the soil quicker, not as ideal. And it's not fun to flip that. This, I'm gonna flip with ease comparatively. And that's the barrel I was talking about. So this is 2.5, 3 feet. And it goes on the outshoot. Again, just so, because I know that when that tarp fell out in front of it, it could kind of get holes blasted through it. Only problem that I have occasionally is if I have a lot of wet material or material that actually has soil, like weed roots or something like that, it can get gummed up there at the entrance. And the thicker and wetter it is, the harder the machine has to work to throw it back, and you wind up with a lot of the material in the front. If it's all dry leaf, it's going to fire right back to the wall. So yeah, that's the current setup I have right now to shred material in a captured space to make it easier for me to have material broken down for my compost bin. The only problem I've got, like I said right now, it's a very inefficient system because now I've got to lug it all back. So what I'll basically do is take every vessel that I've walked down here with raw material, I'll fill them right back up, I'll bring them back up there, dump them in bay 1, and stage those buckets to receive more unbroken down material to walk back down here and lather, rinse, repeat. And over time, all that material in that staging bin is going to go through the system. But first it's going to go through here so that it breaks down better physically, so it can break down faster biologically through that system, so that I can have a better material for the beds in the garden. That's it. So my ask of you is this. One, if you see something about my system that you know an immediate improvement opportunity, please let me know. I've refined it over time to get it better than it has been, but I'm always up for suggestions. And two, if you know anybody who has a machine like this, or if they just expressed interest in shredding material and they just don't know how, I've seen all different ways to do it. I've seen the string trimmer, I've seen bagging systems on lawnmowers, I've seen these machines used with other apparatuses. Share this video with them, please. Maybe they're going to find it useful, maybe they'll just find it entertaining, but either way, I'd love to get this one out there to people who want to capture material better for the compost on a scale, but they just haven't really figured out their method. Maybe they can take something from this. So in the meantime, I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. I'll be happy to answer. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.